thing doctors did when he fell is they operated on his neck.
Well, that's what doctors do. We're not taught structure. We're not taught how one bone aligns against the next. We're not taught nutrition. We're taught drugs and surgery only. Okay? And it was so frustrating. That's all we're talking. Surgery, you never recover from surgery. A lot of surgery may be necessary, but it's going to cause you other problems because that scarring is blocking things.
That's interesting that you say that.
Crisis surgery, without question. You're in a car accident, we have to do something. There are times, yes, you need certain elective surgery.
Sure.
Most of the time, though.
Somebody gets shot by a bullet. You got to take it out.
You got to take it out. They're doing hysterectomies, like I said before, on women, ridiculous. And they're taking out appendixes, because they don't know what it does. While we're in there, we'll take the appendix out.
What does the appendix do?
Well, actually, in Chinese medicine, it's a lymphatic regulator. The tonsils and the appendix regulate the lymphatic system and the drainage system for the entire intestines. So we cut the tonsils out, and we cut the appendix out.
How about the old thyroid?
The thyroid, a lot of that really controls the metabolism. A lot of the thyroid problems actually come from mouth, with a lot of dental problems in there. The thyroid will drain that, and if you've got a lot of dental problems, you'll have a lot of thyroid problems.
Okay, I'm throwing a lot at you here, but
yes,
there's just so much to talk about.
There's so much, and really, honestly, I think the thing that most excites me is looking at the blood. When I saw that changed everything, and that it's the images in the blood, what's going on in the blood. By the way, there's something called live cell analysis out there, and I want to mention this that if people are doing, if they're not doing what's called pleomorphic work, get away from them, because these people live cell analysis are doing con men work. You can learn it in the weekend. But what I do is different. When you come into me and I take your blood and I treat you, your blood should change. And if I can do that, I'm changing you. That's what a doctor should do, and no one looks at the blood. It's amazing the things that are going on in there.
Can you tell right away what's going on by looking at the blood?
Oh, yes. Yes. By the way, I heard you talk about it very easily, too. At 80% of the time, it's so easy, it's incredible. If I did 100%, I'd be a liar or a messiah. Okay?
One or the other, right?
Yeah. 80% of the time, it's really easy. It's so obvious. The other 20% you can figure out step by step. By the way, I heard you talk on your earlier show today that you're a major believer in Edgar Cayce and his philosophies.
Yes.
I spent a year at the Edgar Cayce Clinic in Arizona, the ARE Clinic.
Mm-hmm. They're good people.
Oh, they're great people. And I read, if someone came with asthma, I read all the files. And he taught me, Cayce's files taught me, he always talked about structure, he talked about segments. And he made a statement, which I want to read off to you, and I got it in my book, which I love.
Sure.
The day may yet arrive when one may take a drop of blood and diagnose the condition of any physical body.
Isn't that amazing? And you're right. I remember that.
Yeah,
he did write that.
You can study the blood, the pHs of it. It tells you everything. Okay, and that's my work. I was bored, and I was, like I said, almost suicidal as a regular physician. Now I can't wait to see a new patient.
Cayce said, eat 3 almonds a day to help prevent cancer. So that's what I do. I eat almonds.
Cayce was so right on. I studied everything, and it was amazing more and more that I studied his work. 1 year studying it taught me so much of how the process of disease.
Why is it, Harvey, that this planet seems to have the remedies, the cures, for almost every ailment that we can think of?
Well, that's nature. There's always an answer in nature. To me, the creation in nature is magnificent.
It's incredible.
I'm so in awe of it. The more I get into this, the more I'm in awe of the creation in nature and what it's all about. I live in Northern California. Okay, and to me, what we grow here, you live with here. Wherever you're living, you live with part of the land. What grows here is different than Argentina. You eat fresh stuff. You eat the land. It's wintertime now. Things aren't growing as much. We eat differently. You must be in harmony with the earth. Major, major, major thing. We look at ourselves with all these chemicals and different. We're ruining our earth. Sometimes I think God gave man free will because God's got a sense of humor.
Well, I do believe, though, he gave us the cures. They're all here for us to see.
Yes, very honestly, anything that can be created, any disease that can be created, can be cured. You must find out what got them offline in the first place. That's what I look for. And if you can figure that out, it's like peeling the onion layer back, step by step, and getting them back to the core.
What do you recommend someone do for themselves? Let's say they haven't been to a doctor, they haven't been to a holistic person. What do you recommend they start doing personally right now?
Well, number one, again, it's the exercise, not the running, the walking, get the breathing. I love yoga. I like the passive martial arts. They're very good for getting frustrations and the breathing out. Okay, so it's taking care of your physical body. This is a magnificent machine. Respect it. You take care of your car. Okay, the same thing with the body. Falls or injuries. Eat the right food. Put good gas in your car. All of those things, you know, if it's got a chemical name on it, if it's got, you pick up something with a label on it and you can't read it, don't put it in your mouth. You know, I like what Deepak Chopra says. If it's got a label on it or it's in a can, it's probably not human food.
So true. Stay away from MSG, too.
Yes, anything like that. Eat what's fresh.
Yeah.
Okay, plain and simple, and then enjoy it. Chew your food. We do it in 10 minutes. We're fat. The French do it in 2 or 3 hours, and they'll eat 5,000 calories and they're thin as rails.
You're telling me that Lyme disease is at a chronic point right now. Do you get that from ticks?
No, not at all. Lyme disease is caused by doctors. Okay, the germ is just growing in the weakened tissue. Okay, and 80% of the time, surgeries cause it, chemicals have caused it, damage to the structure has caused it, and if you can figure out why the body is not functioning at 100%, then you can start to reverse it. Again, they come in and you look at them and you see the surgeries. As soon as they start treating the scars and doing osteopathic work and cleaning the body up, quote, their Lyme disease disappears. They're out back working again. And in my book, Doctors Are More Harmful Than Germs, I got 94 cases, I think, written up in that book that we have, quote, cured. If you go to my website, I have several books, The Holographic Blood, Your Cure for Cancer, and we also talked about, too, about the medical conspiracy. I have documentation, the U.S. medical conspiracy, and by the way, people that are listening to the show, if they go to the website and want to get it now, during the show, it's for free. We'll give it to you because I want you to read it. And otherwise, it's like $5 for the book, but it'll tell you how the system, has really conspired against you. And again, if you go get the conspiracy book, sign up for our newsletter. We'll send that out to you. We'll have free copies of
All right, we'll be back with more here in a moment on Coastam. Harvey, prayer seems to work also to help and heal people. How come? How?
What was that? I'm sorry.
Prayer.
Oh, that's again. Prayer is just a positive thing. In fact, being Jewish, it's very, very interesting. Every letter means something, and the prayer is actually giving a vibration to normalize the system out and calm the system down, which is a very interesting concept. So what it does, yes, it balances you, calms you down, takes the stress out of it, and most prayers, there's a real historical background of what it's doing almost vibrationally to your body.
Let me ask you about the personal thing back in '93, some kind of Medicare fraud thing. What was it, $145? What'd you do?
$145. It's the lowest conviction in U.S. history. What it really was, and I didn't realize the conspiracy. I was a little too naive, but in the early 1980s, I'm one of 3% of physicians to be picked for a random Medicare audit. I have about 5,000 case files. They pick out 28 cases to randomly audit. Those 28 cases only involve chelation therapy. Now, I never chelated a day in my life, but I had a guy that worked with me for 3 months. Those were his 28 cases. Therefore, this could not have been a random pick. They used the codes to go after people. At the end of a 6-month audit, they said, your procedures don't fit our codes. Why don't you code it this way? 3 years later, they had grand jury hearings on fraudulent coding. I was indicted on 117 counts of Medicare fraud, totaling $3,500. My lawyer said the only time he's ever seen 117 counts is mafia. Okay, and these were, it's because I was doing something like the one doctor on the board said, we don't care if your patients are getting better or worse. We only care if you're doing the work in our way scientifically. So the system is actually tracking you through the insurance coding. That's Fourth Amendment illegal spying search.
And they ended up nailing you for $145.
And the reason I was attacked is because I wrote the first law in the United States in Arizona to break the AMA's monopoly. I got on TV, I got on radios, and I was the figurehead. And that's when they came after me, because essentially I was the leader in the revolution. And then they got me and shot me, and out of the country I had to go. It would have cost me $1 million to defend myself. Okay, and that's at the same time. There is a company that opens up called HCA, Healthcare Corporation of America. It's involved with Senator Bill Frist's family. His brother is the CEO. They got a $1.7 billion Medicare fraud misdemeanor.
Misdemeanor?
And paid with checks to pay it off.
Unbelievable. Well, I'm glad we brought it up.
Okay. That shows you a whole different ball game. Okay. So that's I look at actually as the conviction I have is almost a badge. I mean, I took the bullet for the system, and I was attacked because the system picked me out as the figurehead.
How do you feel about that at this point in your career?
Well, at this point, I really, I'm glad I'm not licensed. I work as a consultant, because if I was licensed, they would come back at me.
Sure.
So I'm a consultant. I can say what I want. I work with other people that do the treatments and stuff. And, this, by the way, I have this medical conspiracy book, and we have a newsletter. And if people sign up for that, the newsletter tonight, they can get a copy of that medical conspiracy, and you can see how the system does things to you.
Would you do this all over again?
Oh, that's a very interesting question. At first, if I had to go to school again, I'd become an osteopath. They're not nearly as harassed, and they at least learn structure. Classical osteopathy is wonderful. Now, 95% of osteopaths are doing a lot of pharmaceutical medicine, but the ones that are doing the classical osteopathy, to me, I look at it as a divine concept. And if I had to do it over again, that's what it'd be. To me, the greatest physician was Andrew Taylor, still the founder of osteopathy, who stated disease cannot exist where there are no obstructions.
What countries, now I know you talked about ranking, like, France is number one in health organization,
right.
but what country would you say is the best for treating people, innovative, knows what to do?
Oh, I don't really have that good answer on that as much as, because France and stuff like that is much more preventative, the way they deal with the stuff. As the treatments go, pharmaceutical medicine and like, probably, I'd say Germany. Germany is making remedies that they've been doing for 50 years that really repair the body. There's animal tissue, almost stem cell type of stuff they're using. Other stuff called isopathic remedies, which took me a long time to learn. But you can't believe how good these live germs are. And I'd say Germany is probably producing the best pharmacies around. I get a lot of my stuff from Germany, and it's the FDA considers them all food stuff, so it's no problem to even get them into this country.
For every 10 doctors, how many would you say are truly doing a great job, care about their patients?
Well, first of all, I think they all care about the patients.
Okay.
That's number one. I don't believe, I think they're honest people. But how many MDs are doing a great job? Very few, because all they're doing is poisons and surgery. Again, I come back to the osteopath, I come back to the acupuncturist, I come back to the naturopath. These people are doing jobs of health. The MD is only stopping the dam, okay, that's got his finger in the dam and doing poisons to do that. So most MDs, really honestly are not doing the work. There's certain ways that you can probably find them out, the American Holistic Medical Association, things like that. You may find MDs that are into as much natural as possible.
Do you generally work on trying to treat other ailments the same way? Is there like a specific guideline for you?
No, because there's no specific guideline for George Noory. I don't treat ailments, I treat people. When you treat an ailment, you're going into the box. Someone that's got a colitis or a Crohn's disease, those are results. 10 people with that type of disease got their 10 different ways of weakness to that tissue. So I treat the physical body, I treat the person, and I get that physical machine, that magnificent machine, working as good as possible.
So how